Hi, welcome to ACC Community Room for Gentle Yoga at 2 p.m. I'm Jeani, your guide. Today we are focusing on the usual areas of the major muscle groups with our walking meditation. The warm-ups help us to get to that point where we can fold in the walking meditation and find some balance. And throughout the rest of the practice, as we make our way down to the mat today, we'll be just exercising those shoulders, hips, legs that we do with spinal twists with our goddess. And today's standing standing poses will be our chair and tree. So if you have blocks for those poses that you like to use or strap, go ahead and have them nearby. Water is so important, especially with the heat wave that's going on this whole week. You want to stay nice and hydrated. I have my water over here. Let me get a quick sip, and we'll start at the back of the mat. As we arrive, you don't need to change the quality of your breath. Let's get this, but just allowing yourself to come to the back of the mat and notice how you're arriving. As we stand in our home base of mountain, feet are about hips distance apart. As we return to our home base of mountain, you can lengthen through the legs, through the back, the entire body as we progress through our practice. So as we begin, it's like bend to the knees and just relaxing as you arrive, noticing how the body is feeling. Let's go ahead and bring our left palm to rest on our chest, over the heart, and the right palm under the belly button. And as you breathe for the next few breath cycles, without forcing anything, just notice how the energy enters the nose, how it fills up the body. Maybe at the top of the inhale, your shoulders lift, your chest is expanded to its maximum. And then as you slowly exhale, feeling that energy leave the body, gently press in the belly hand at the bottom of the exhale. Help to push all the air out and engage the core. And as you move through your breath cycles, pauses in between the inhales and the exhales. The heart rate slows, and you become connected more to the Ujjayi breath, to that deep, relaxed ocean breath. Bring a little space to the back of the throat, and we can finish cultivating that breath, the sigh, the quiet sound of maybe an ocean wave at the back of the throat. And then we can go ahead and bring our hands down. Go ahead and roll some weight towards the toes. Lift the toes as you roll the weight back towards the heels. And then we'll settle into our mountain just a little more. Resetting it, lengthening, feeling a little longer as we return to mountain. Inhaling, feeling that energy gradually working up through the body. Imagine feeling it going through the crown of the head towards the sky, and on the exhale, that energy returning reverse direction back into the body, down the legs, into the earth. Inhaling next, we're going to slowly roll the weight towards the toes. Stop at that tipping point, and then use the next breath to slowly roll the weight towards the heels. Just explore that heel to toe center of gravity as it's shifting. And after a couple of breath cycles, return to center, somewhere above the arches, closer to the heels. Settling into our mountain, inhaling to lengthen through the crown of the head. Lifting upwards, we can just exhale, roll the weight towards the outer right edge of your feet. Inhale all the way back up to center. Exhale to the other side. And use this 3-part breath to move from side to side and find that horizontal mapping. Return to center once that's explored. Inhaling nice and tall. Let's go ahead and find that left side with the exhale. And as soon as you find that edge, we can inhale back to center and exhale to the other side using a 3-part breath. And find that left to right movement. Come back to center. Inhaling nice and tall, a little taller in our mountain. Start making small circles at about the ankles. Radiate the circles larger towards the outer perimeter of the feet. And once that's explored, go ahead and bring the circles in towards the center, somewhere above the ankles, nearer to the heels. Setting back into our mountain. Resetting it nice and tall before we start making small circles in the opposite direction. Notice how that feels. Try to keep the soles of the feet on the floor as you just shift the weight at the edge, and then tighten in the circles and return to home base of mountain. Okay, and each time you come to mountain, you can do things like lifting a foot if you tend to grab your mat with the feet. Just reset it. Nice and tall in our mountain once more. And we're going to have our feet a little bit wider than hips distance apart, just a little bit wider. And you can have the feet just toes pivoting outwards slightly as we start to pivot on our heels as we move the torso from side to side. And as we have more of this swerve to one side, be sure to lift the ball of the foot of that side you're going to so that you can protect the knee. We want to make sure we're bringing the whole body, turning from side to side with the foot moving along with the center of the chest. And the arms should be nice and relaxed. See if you are holding up the shoulders. See if you can just let them relax. And gravity with momentum should give you a gentle stretching at about the tops of the shoulders. Maybe the palms start to tap the sides of the body. And then we'll let that energy lessen, peter out, and come back to center. I happen to go a little off the mat there, so coming back into our mountain on the mat, we'll move on up towards the shoulders. So as we leave the bottom, the lower region of our body, moving up towards the torso, see if you can find a little more length in your mountain. You can think about pressing into all points of the feet. Make sure you're not rolling towards the outer arches, the outer edges or the inner arches of the feet. Make sure you have all points of the soles of the feet supporting your weight, maybe a little more towards the ankles, towards the heels. And as you stand there, you might gently tuck under the tailbone so you can lengthen through the upper torso, a gentle tuck of the chin, and the shoulders now. With the next inhale, palms facing forward. Let's go ahead and raise the shoulders towards the ceiling. Feel length from the heels all the way to the shoulders if you can. At the top of the inhale, we pause, and on the exhale, we roll the shoulders back and just let the shoulder blades release down the back. Tuck in those points, if you want, the angel's wings tips into the mid-back. By a total of 4 breath cycles, where we're inhaling on the, where we're lifting the shoulders on the inhale, and we're exhaling the shoulders back and down. See if you can use your ocean breath to facilitate the move so that when you inhale, You're feeling nice and tall, lengthening the body. And on the exhale, releasing, rooting, grounding into the support of the body as the shoulders relax and melt down the back. I think that was 4, so let's go ahead and lift up the shoulders and start our second set of bringing the shoulders forward on the exhale. Inhaling is up, exhaling is rolling forward this time. Still letting the shoulders release down the back, tucking in the angel's wings tips into the mid-back. Alrighty, and that's our 4. Go ahead and shake out your limbs too. Sometimes that's a nice way to reset the body. And we'll return to our mountain once more, lifting up to our throat opening. In mountain, inhaling nice and tall through the crown of the head, palms facing forward. Lift as if there's a string pulling at the crown of the head. Then exhale, let the right ear just naturally float towards the right shoulder. Feel that length on the left side of the neck. Turn the gaze on the exhale if you haven't already. And use 3 to 4 breath cycles to find release on the left side of the neck, the eyes, and see if you can soften your gaze. Maybe your eyes can land at the far right side of your vision by that last exhale. When you're done, go ahead and bring the eyes, the gaze, the center of the head completely up at the top of the inhale. So you can just exhale the left ear towards the left shoulder. Inhaling for length, exhaling to release. Turn the gaze if you haven't already. 3 to 4 breath cycles now. See if the breath can help you release the right shoulder, any tightness in the upper right shoulder, right side of the neck. Maybe the eyes can just rest gently on the left side of your vision. And turn the palms forward. And after your very last exhale, you can inhale the eyes, the gaze, the center of the head completely back up at the top of the inhale so that you can just exhale the eyes downward, floating towards the top of the mat. Rest them there and let the next 3 to 4 breath cycles just allow you to inhale deeply and exhale deeply. Find that standing center of gravity, fully supported by the body with a slight tilt of the crown of the head towards the ceiling. A good tennis ball space between the chin and the chest. Try to keep the palms facing forward and relax the arms, let them be. After the very last exhale, go ahead and bring the eyes back up to center, past it, towards the ceiling, and when you can see the ceiling above, stop craning the neck. And use the next 3 to 4 breath cycles to release in the front of the throat, the mouth, the jaw. See if you're furrowing your brow, if you can relax that. Shoulders are relaxed back and down like in our warm-up. Having the palms oriented forward helps to keep the shoulders from caving inward. After the very last exhale, go ahead and bring the eyes back down to center. And at center, release your position, reset the mountain, and we'll start with our fold. Standing in mountain once more, nice and energized, feeling tall, gentle tuck of the chin. Let's go ahead and reach the fingers downward. Inhale, extend the arms up. At the top, we'll go ahead and reach a little further. Exhale, engage the core. Start to hinge at the hips, strong back. Bend the knees if you need. Halfway down, you can always float the hands down, walk them down, and just let the upper and lower back release. You might have more of a half lift position if it's really tight in the back and the legs. And just give yourself some time in our first forward fold, our ragdoll of a fold, to kind of release. You might need to keep a deep bend if the backs of the legs are tight. If the lower back is tight, support the torso with the forearms, or just let gravity slowly release you downward. Eventually, we're hoping our arms are just relaxed. Relaxed noodles, helping us to find that distance, meet the distance in our fold. You can always gently sway the hips from side to side. See if that gives you a little release. See if you're holding on to the weight of your head. Gently bobble the head from left to right, forward and back, maybe even in little dangly circles. See if that helps you to release. We're wanting to feel the hips down to the heels, this good support. So if you feel like you're tipping forward, bring some more weight to the heels. Find that support from the hips down to the ankles, tops of the ankles. And with the next inhale, we're going to slowly roll up. So engage the core. We're going to start pressing into the feet, straightening up the legs, walking the hands up if we need extra help with the back. And as we slowly roll up, we're opening up the chest, palms face forward, shoulders roll back and down. And we're just letting the blood rush back to our head. Once that feels good, let's have another fold once more, resetting the mountain if you need. Lengthening a little taller in our mountain with every iteration. Lengthening downwards. Inhale, bring the arms up above, hands are above the head. Exhale, hinge at the hips, engage the core. Come on down for another fold. Your choice, walk it down, float down. And this time, you might be able to lift the toes. You might be able to lift the heel one at a time. You might be able to gently bend one knee, straightening the other leg, and alternate. Gently, just bend one knee and then the other. See if that helps to lengthen through the back legs. It's a shorter time with this fold. We're going to inhale now. Try a half lift. Press into the legs or the mat or the thighs, wherever your hands have contact. Try to lengthen from the tailbone to the crown of the head, and then exhale, fold again. Bend the knees if you need. Relax, and then inhale. We're going to slowly roll up or come up with a straight back, but either way, engage the core. Inhaling, coming up, your choice, and at the top, the hands can just come on down, heart center. Relax the shoulders. Inhale, let's start our walking meditation. Bringing standing weight to the left leg. Lift the right foot and put the foot down. Heel, ball of foot, and toes. Gently lift the left leg. Exhale the left foot down. And as you're making your way up to the top of the mat, one full breath cycle per step in a slow movement so you can feel the change of center, the change of your center as you're walking to the top of the mat. And at the top, let's look at the fingertips. Press into the palms. Inhale. Watch the fingertips rise. Separate the hands at the top. Exhale. Engage the core and hinge at the hips. Bend the knees if you need. Come on down for a third fold. Fully exhaled here. Let's inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Relax the knees, bend them if you need. Bring the hands down to either side of the feet, walking the feet, maybe several steps back till you can bring your shoulders over the wrists in a high plank. Inhaling nice and tall from heels to crown of the head, and then we can bring the knees down. Untuck the toes and modify your first high plank. Just feel the lengthening from the shoulders all the way down to the wrists. The arms are lengthening downward. And if you feel like you're a little forward, too much, go ahead and lift up the knees and slide them back just slightly. And engage the core, the belly button, sticking that towards the spine. Let's go ahead and inhale, tuck the toes, lift up the hips. Exhale, press into the arms, extended arms to bring your body into down dog. You might have a lifted dog, heels are high, that's okay. You'll lower them as it becomes more natural and you find that space and length. Engage your core. You're feeling like the hips are lifting up as the hands and the feet are really trying to root downward. You don't need to have straight legs. You can have deep bends to the knees. You can have slight micro bends to the knees. We want to keep that upside down V shape, and maybe it's more of an upside down U. That's all right. Just work towards that V. Find that length. One more deep inhale. Look to the hands with the eyes. And then exhale, engage the core, bend the knees, and we're going to come to the back of the mat, walking the hands back to the feet, to the fold at the back of the mat. And then inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Just relax the torso towards the mat, towards the legs. And then inhale, engage the core, press into the feet. Come on up, your choice. I'm coming up with a straight back, hands together above my head, fully inhaled. At the top here, exhale, hands down, heart center. One more walking meditation. Lift the right foot. Exhale the right foot down. Inhale, left foot up. Exhale it down. If you feel wobbly, if you fall out, that's okay. You can press into the hands. You can engage your core. Try to regain your balance. Or if you fall out, that's all right. Just meet us back where you can. The top of the mat, let's go ahead and look at the fingertips. Press the hands up. Fully extended here. Exhale. Hinge at the hips and fold. Separating the hands. Fully exhaled here at the bottom. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Step the right leg back and left leg back as you come into your high plank. Inhaling, shoulders over the wrists. Nice and long high plank this time. You can adjust the feet. You want to feel that nice hypotenuse from the heels all the way to the crown of the head, while the arms are supporting the upper body and the balls of the feet are supporting the lower limbs as well. Balancing here. Let's go ahead and inhale, lift up the hips. Exhale, press back into down dog. Give yourself about 3 breath cycles here. You can lengthen through the torso and then lengthen through the legs. You can do it both at the same time. Try not to crane the neck though. You want to keep the ears somewhere in between the upper arms and looking downward, or just a soft gaze. When we're ready to come out, we're going to inhale, roll the eyes towards the hands. Exhale, bend the knees, engage the core, and come on down to the fold at the back of the mat. Walking the hands back, inhale, half lift. When you get there, exhale, fold. Inhale. Come on up, your choice, but engage your core, strong core, lifting all the way back with the inhale. Exhaling, hands down, heart center, finally down to the side. And give yourself a moment, maybe even a drink of water as we transition to our tree and chair for our balance pose in just a moment. Oh, there it is. All right. So if you do like a block to help you with lifting the heels, we'll be doing that in chair. Or if you like it to help you set your tree, you can do that too. If you're good without the block, don't worry about it then. So all we're going to do with our tree to begin with, and I'll just demonstrate with a block. I'm going to start with the right foot. And the block just essentially keeps us from kicking out that hip. So typically when we move into tree, we're just lifting the right heel, externally rotating the hip, and then walking the ball of foot over so that we can rest it on the standing leg. But doing that, sometimes you might, have the opposite hip jut out a little. So to keep from jutting out the hip, I just mentioned being on a block, and I guess it's going to be my left hip, with the toes just slightly off. And then you can keep the ball of the other foot down there on the ground just to help you. But it gives you an idea of how to keep both hips in line, forward facing, and how you can stand. Engage the stacking of the ankle under the knee under the hip. And once you find that center there, where you're not jutting out that hip, you can just lift the right toe slightly, and you'll hopefully find that lengthening, just flexing the foot. That's a balance, but that helps you understand how to set up the structure of your left leg. Go ahead, when you come off, you want the ball of the foot of the bottom leg down on the ground, and you can lower that right heel and then lift the left foot off the block. And all that did was kind of give you a muscle memory of how this left side should be stacking before you open up into a tree. Okay, we'll go ahead and use the block for the other side. So standing here, a little bit of the toes over the edge of that block, and you're lifting up to the ball of the foot on the left, or the toes even. And you just want to find that nice stacking feeling again, where the center of gravity is more towards the right side of your body. The center is really down that right leg. Stacking so that you feel that center, and then just lifting the foot, playing with that stability so you can find the stacking. And then we can go ahead and bring the toes down and the ball of that left foot, heel down, lift the right foot off of the block. And we'll go ahead and do tree once more, but without the block. And this time, hopefully, you're still going to remember what that feels like. So bringing standing weight to the left leg. Let's go ahead, inhale nice and tall. Bring the standing weight to the left leg. Do you feel everything stacking on the left side of your body? Go ahead and lift the right heel. Externally rotate the right hip. And as you're there in that position, if that feels good, you can walk the right heel to rest on the left ankle. So we're trying to find that width here, that stability of the foundation. The tripod down there is our foundation. We might wobble forward and back, left to right. So we want to find that stability. Once that's solid, we can move up the body. You can bring your hands to heart center and find that engagement of the core. Imagine that nice grounding, the rooting energy from the feet moving up the body, one long column of support. And you can always press into the palms to help you keep that balance. And breathing 5 good breath cycles here. Don't hyper extend the left knee. See if you can find only those muscles needed to keep the form. Relax anything else. Keep the core slightly engaged. In that soft, faraway gaze, just to rest the gaze. After your last exhale, go ahead and bring the hands down if they're in prayer. Lift the right heel and internally rotate that right hip before you land the right leg, right foot. Okay, so this left leg might feel a little stiff, might feel like it's still holding on to activation. So kick forward and to the left to release. Kick forward and to the same side as that leg to release before you cross over to the other side. You hopefully will find some release in the buttock, in the left hamstrings, quads, ankles. And once that's there, you can give yourself a nice bounce, a nice jiggle. We'll move over to the other side. So standing once more in our mountain, bringing standing weight now to the right leg. Shift is subtle, but you're setting up the structure. Feeling as if you're lighter on the left leg and you're supporting more of the weight towards the right side of your body now. A center of column right here where you're feeling the stacking of the right ankle under the right knee, under the right hip, and hopefully the right hip and shoulder all under the right ear. And once that's stable, you can lift the left heel, externally rotate that left hip, and then walk it over gently to the right ankle. And focus on the support, on the foundation. Hips should be open. The leg is opening up to help the left hip open. And once that's stable, then we can move on up to the hands. Engage the core as you bring the hands into heart position. And then breathe here for the next 5 breath cycles. Notice if you're holding on to something you don't need to hold on to. See if you can just relax the body into this supported position. And after your last exhale, go ahead and bring the hands down to our sides. Lift the left heel, and internally rotate the left hip before you let the left foot land. Go ahead and regain your position of mountain once more. Do any movement that feels good to you in the transition. You might need to bend, lengthen. You might need to kick out any activated muscles. Do what feels good to you to release from this pose, and we'll move into chair. And sometimes when we're standing for a great deal, you may not notice that you're still actively holding those muscles in that position until we make a counter stretch. So coming into our chair, I'll move to the side so you have a benefit of that side perspective. We can have the block once more as a tool or not. So I'll leave it up to you. I'll demonstrate the first with the heels, the first without the heels, and the second with the heels, since that's a little more challenging. Okay, so standing in our mountain, let's give ourselves a nice inhale, a nice exhale, feeling rooted, a little taller in our mountain. Feet are hips distance apart, heel to toe alignment. Let's go ahead and lift our arms. You can have it out to this at a tangent or straight above the head. It's up to you. Inhale, tall, and then exhale, just start to bend the knees and feel that shift of your weight towards the back of the heels. You should just be able to bend the knees and come on down slightly, and you'll feel that engagement in the backside, in the thighs, in the legs. As soon as you do, hold on to that. If you're starting to feel pressure at the lower back, curve out the lower back by tucking under the tailbone, and that way you'll have less pressure on the lower back. Engaging the core as well, bringing up the arms, engaging the core, and feeling the shift of center right at the heels. You can always lift the toes to feel that center of gravity. You'll feel it shift if the toe movement, if the center of gravity wasn't over the heels. So bring the toes back down. Hopefully you've gotten that. And you can always bring the hands down if that's a little more challenging for you. But we have 2 more breaths here. 2 more breath cycles here. And after the very last one, we'll go ahead and inhale to straighten. Lift up from the torso if you can. Stretch if you can from the heels, up the legs, up the spine, to the fingertips. Make fists, open the mouth, close the mouth, and let the hands float down. Gentle tuck of the chin for that length to the back of the neck. And then straighten back up into our mountain. We'll come into a second chair, and this time we're going to lift up the heels if you feel like it. You don't have to if you don't want to. And you can also, if you want more of a challenge, walk onto the blocks if you're in that transition. So either way, we'll start with our regular chair position. Inhaling, arms up. Exhale, bend the knees, sink into your chair. Feel the center of gravity, engage the core. And if your arms are tired, shoulders are tired, you can always do the second set with the hands at the hips or at heart center or even down. So it's just another challenge to it. Inhaling, we're gonna roll the center of gravity to the balls of our feet. Up to the tiptoes if you need. See if you can walk to the back of that block if you'd like to use it. Otherwise, you're standing with heels lifted for about 3 to 5 breath cycles. Engage your core. If your core is not engaged, it's harder to keep the balance of the torso on top of the pelvis, on top of the legs. It helps to just keep everything nice and tight. One more deep inhale, stretch out the fingers. One more deep exhale, engage the core. And then inhale, straighten up and bring the hands down to the side. If you're on the block, let's go ahead and inhale, walk off slowly and gently, and come back to your mountain. Let the inner arches relax in. Let the heels to the toes all support the body with more of the center towards the ankles. All right, and then we can move our way down to the belly. We're moving into a sphinx to a locust pose, so come on down. Your choice, if you want to roll slowly downwards, then you can bring the hands in front, start to bring the knees down. If you have a favorite special way of coming down, go ahead and do so. But we're meeting on the belly. I like to have a little mat there. And as we're walking onto the belly, one form at a time for me. If you have glasses, it's a good time to take them off. And just let the body be supported. If it doesn't bother your shoulders, you can always just fold the arms, hands underneath the eyebrows, underneath the brow line. And if the shoulders are really too tight for that, you can always lay the cheek down and arms can be at your side. Just don't forget to turn the gaze to balance. But just let the body kind of relax. You know you're holding onto things. If you're still stiff, you just want to see if you can exhale and maybe your shoulder might just gently melt, drop slightly. Maybe you'll feel bones just being a little heavier, muscles just letting go. Okay, turning that gaze too if you haven't already. And as we're coming out of this just transitional belly position here, we're going to come into a sphinx position. Start to press into the chest and the pubic and the belly for that slight support as you turn the head. And now that the face is hovering above the mat, fingers are somewhere underneath the shoulders, we're just going to walk the fingers up, start to prop ourselves up on one elbow and then the other, but try to get that support of the weight moved from just the elbow to include the entire forearm to the fingertips. We want everything from the elbows to the fingertips helping to support this upper body. And we want to make sure our shoulders are not caving in towards our spine, our ears. We want our shoulders to move away from each other, from the spine. And then we want them to roll back and down so we can get the shoulders away from the ears. Have it nice and wide there. And just by doing that one action of protracting the shoulders blades down the back, away from the spine and down the back, we should get a little bit of length. But again, making sure that we're not digging into the elbow points, but have the forearms, the palms, the fingertips, as well as the elbow, helping to support the upper body and keeping the upper shoulders nice and wide. Okay, with the next inhale, go ahead and gently press into the forearm support so you can just feel a slight pulling of the torso forward. And then with an exhale, we're just going to bring the gaze to rest at about thumb level. And then soften the gaze. Just let it get blurry. Doesn't have to focus on anything at all. Just be soft. Notice if you're holding anything in the lower body. If a glute is engaged, a toe, see if you can relax that. And then from here, give yourself 5 good breath cycles. Feel each breath in, find length at a slight tilt at the crown of the head, but a lengthening from that point of the belly to the crown of the head. Let each exhale hopefully just release any tension, any achiness. See if the exhales can help you release any holding of muscles that doesn't serve you in this position. And after your very last exhale, we'll go ahead and slowly lower the upper torso down to the mat. Move the elbows out to the side as the torso and chest. Finally, forehead gently rests on the mat. You can use your turn in the cheek position or resting hands underneath the forehead position. Just give yourself a little bit of time to release. And then now we're going to bring the arms back down. Palms are facing up, arms are at our side. Chin and the nose is just slightly supporting the face, hovering above the mat. Or maybe just a little smushed into it, but give yourself the next inhale to lengthen through your legs. Both legs, one leg at a time, doesn't matter, but just find length while you're still in contact with the mat. You can point the toes. If you find that you start to cramp up in the arch, don't point the toes anymore. Do the opposite position, which would be flexing the feet, bringing the feet to the toe tips. And that should hopefully help you. Sometimes our tendons, our musculature, the system is just so tight in the feet that you might have that cramping. So it really helps to kind of open the toe, the digits there, and just let them relax. All right, with the next inhale, we're going to release through the legs once more, lengthening, keeping contact with the mat, and doing the same thing with the arms. Just lengthen through the arms. Just get nice and long. You can roll onto the palms of the hands and slide the hands, arms out to the side. Oh, maybe a foot away from the hips. And as you're lengthening there, feel the engagement of the core. One more inhale. Exhale, start to lengthen and see if you can lift the feet, the toes. Start to curl the toes up while you're still in contact with the mat. And then exhale, release. Bring the toe tips, feet onto the toe tips if you feel a little cramping or just to help counter stretch from pointing our toes for so long. Okay, and then turn the head to one side and let's bring the palms of our hands to face the top. So we're going to bring the arms a little closer, palms facing up. And then see if you can bend your elbow so that the back of your hands are maybe touching your hips. And you can always release the feet, release to the tops of the feet if you can. But if you're here and your elbows are out and that feels good to you, you should be feeling some stretch to the upper shoulders, feeling that nice space in the mid-back. You can get more of that shoulder stretch by simply moving the arm a little closer to the body, the back of the hand a little further up the side, and then up the back if that feels good to you. If you're having plenty stretch by just simply having the elbows out to the side, you can just leave your arms there. If you'd like an extra side in upper shoulder stretch, you can start to bring the arms back. Maybe you can get a hold of your hands, your wrists, maybe your elbows. And you may notice the position of one arm is above the other. And if you're resting on the side of your cheek here, we're going to change that position as soon as we let go of this back hold.
of our arms. So let's go ahead, if we're holding onto our elbows or some part of our hands in the back of us, let's go ahead and release them and draw the hands back to the mat, to our sides. Palms are still facing up. Press into the chest and the pubic bone, belly, so you can just gently lift the head and turn it to the other side. Rest that side of the cheek. Make any alignment-ish changes that you need to keep the neck in alignment with the spine. We don't want the neck curving off to the right side. We just want the face to turn to the right, not the neck. So here, we're going to do the same behind the back stretch of the arms, if that feels good to you. So you can start by just bringing the elbows out to the side a little bit. And if that feels good, just stay there. That's giving a nice stretch to the tops of the shoulders, to the mid-back. But if you want to get a little more, just switch the position of the top hand and the back hand, bottom hand from the last position. If you don't remember, that's okay. Just do another hold of your limbs behind your back. That feels comfortable to you and allows you to open up the upper shoulders. And for me, I like holding the forearms, but on some days, I might just be able to hold one wrist and that's it. Okay. So now that we're done here, we're going to slowly bring the arms back down to our side. And then engage the belly, chest again, so we can lift the face and turn it back here. We're extending the arms once more, and this time the palms are on the mat. And the arms don't have to be at a T, they can be more at an angled in-between state, maybe again a foot away from your hips, but you have that choice, either out at a T or about a foot away from your hips. Faces towards the mat, legs are nice and long, and they're a little wider than usual. We're going to inhale, keeping contact with the mat. Lengthen the limbs down the mat, off the mat. Just lengthen. Take another deep inhale here. Engage the core. Exhale and lengthen. See if you can lift the feet, the toes, the hands, maybe even the arms and the legs too. And you're just balancing on the belly, lifting the arms and legs, faces down, faces looking downward. Exhale, lower the feet, then lower the arms. And go ahead and place the back of the hands on the mat at your side. Bring the feet underneath the hip position so that you have a nice relaxed belly position. And then we'll move on to the back. Now you can, at this point, if you have a special way of getting onto the back, go ahead and do it. You can always bring one arm up and help roll yourself over onto the back. The only problem is, of course, you'll have to get back onto the mat. So doing that, if your shoulder is good, and just coming back on, inching the shoulders alternately with the hips, a little bit at a time, just to come back onto the mat. You can also reverse push-up if that's available to you. Some days that feels better. Other days I do like to just roll onto the back. So once we're here on our back, make sure you're comfortable. If your blanket is folded and presenting imbalance, make sure it's straightened out. Release any folded, pinched skin. And in a base bridge position to begin with, we want to make sure our neck is in alignment with our spine. Our feet are about hips distance apart. And then with the next inhale, we're just going to let the left leg lengthen. Now, our left hip might be tented, might not be, because we've been on our belly all this time. So it should just hopefully relax. But if it's tented, just give yourself a breath or two. Inhale, lengthen through the left leg, flex that left foot, and then exhale, let the left foot release. It's just going to relax and be where it is. All right. With the next inhale, we're going to grab your strap if you have difficulty holding on to your leg as you lengthen it upwards. But we're going to start with lifting the right foot. Now you might just need to lift the right foot and hold on to the thigh. Maybe it's the material around the thigh. Maybe it's the strap around the thigh to help lift that leg. Maybe it's the strap around the ball of the foot. But we're moving towards just lengthening this leg. And for some of us, it might be that we can't lengthen the leg completely yet. So work in stages. Do the best that you can. Start with just trying to bring this thigh into a 90-degree angle or something like that. And once we can bring this leg out, then we're going to lengthen it as we can. So we might need the help of our strap. If it's on the ball of the foot, that really helps as we're making our way to lengthening the leg into that 90-degree angle. And again, it just depends on where we are. But it takes about 3 to 5 breath cycles to find that first edge. You might have a long leg. You might have a bend to the knee until you can get that leg lengthened. But whatever you're doing, after that 5th breath cycle, we'll just hold it here and try to release while your leg is in that position. See if your sacrum is rolling to one side. We want to keep the sacrum balanced, the back balanced. So roll more weight to that lifted side of the sacrum so you can have even distribution. Once you've found that length on that side, we're going to go ahead and bend the right knee and start to externally rotate the right hip as you're bending the right knee. And we're bringing the right knee closer to our chest. We might not bring it very far. We might bring our right hand to help support the right thigh. We're trying to bend the right knee and fold in the right leg. And for some of us, that just is a process. So right here, if you're able to bring your hands around your shin and help to tuck that knee, thigh into the chest, go ahead. That's where we're moving towards. If you're just trying to find that flexibility and that length, we're just moving towards that position. Hopefully bringing more of the leg to fold in towards the torso as it becomes available to us. Okay, give yourself 2 more deep breath cycles. See if you can relax the body with those breath cycles. The deep ocean-like breath. And after your last exhale, we'll go ahead and inhale to lengthen once more. And then slowly bring the leg down. You can bend the knee again if you want, or just let it float down and slide it down. Now here, you might benefit from tapping the knees a little bit, just gently. See where that brings you. How does that feel in the ankles and the knees? And you might just need a couple of breaths, and eventually maybe the thighs and the calves will just relax down to the mat. We've got to do this on the other side too. So when you're ready, getting your strap if you need. The right leg hopefully is nice and relaxed already. We're going to bend the left knee, walk that sole of the foot up towards that base bridge position. Make sure you've got the leg close to that base bridge position. And then again, you can use a strap behind the thigh. You can use the material of your thigh. We're just going to lift the leg. We want to make sure our back is supported, right? So
having our strap or using the material feel nice and supported by the back. Get some of that lower back in to the mat if you need, and lift the left foot from the mat. If it's there, you're going to use your strap or your hand position to start to bring the left thigh into a 90-degree angle. For some of us, we're just working to the 90-degree angle of the left thigh bone. It takes about 3 to 5 breaths. See what works for you. And again, you don't want to be lifting from the support of our sacrum, right? We want to keep that in place. So if things start to move around, make the adjustments to come back to your foundation. The back should be fully supported. Slight lift to the back of the lower back once you have your hands around your thigh or the thigh in that 90-degree position or close to it. At this point, we're going to start to lengthen through the leg, left leg with the next inhale. Do the best that you can. You may have your strap to assist you, whether it's at the thigh, at the ball of the foot. And you don't need to rein in that leg too much. We're just trying to lengthen through it. So you're pushing out through the leg. You're extending through the leg best that you can, while the strap just helps you to keep it in the air. And if you feel your lower back is lifting, you want to bring the lower back down. You can always bring the feet down. It just means perhaps that you're going a little too far and you just need to progress a little slower. So we're just getting to that point, 3 to 5 breath cycles, where we can eventually have our legs in this split 90-degree positioning. Once that's there, we can start to bend this left knee, externally rotating the left hip to start to bring the left leg, folding it in towards the torso. My hips are so tight. I am just here with my strap. And for some of us, you might have your arm completely around your thigh, shin. And as you're bringing the knee closer, only as it's available to you, the knee will come towards the chest. But again, we're all working at some point. And as we bring more of this left knee towards the chest, we want to make sure our left hip is in external rotation. And breathe the best that you can for about 2 more breath cycles here. See if the ocean breath can help you release. Hopefully the neck is not arching upwards or the lower back, but that you're just relaxing into this releasing pose. Maybe the toes are not active, but just relaxing. And when you're done with your last breath, let's go ahead and start to straighten out the left leg, kicking out this left foot, internally rotating the left hip. Once the leg is back into that 90-degree angle or somewhere extending straight, then we can release our strap or use our strap, I guess, to help lower the leg down. I'm just going to bend my left knee and then lengthen through the leg. And then once both legs are down, give yourself any transitional movement here. We're going to extend arms above our head, point the toes, reach out through the fingers, ball up the fists, scrunch the face, engage the core, and then release. And then we're going to move our way into Shavasana. So I'm going to sit up while you get to lay down and enjoy your body responding to today's practice for the next 5 minutes. Allow yourself to get comfortable. If you're cold, you can always put a blanket on. Let the palms face upwards and allow the belly to be soft. Notice if your tongue is stuck to the roof of your mouth. Release it and gently soften the jaw. And when you hear the bells, will awaken. Bringing the mind back to the body, taking note of sounds outside the room, sounds within the room, and finally back to the breath. As you reconnect to the body once more, you can wiggle your fingers, toes, you can rock from side to side. You can give yourself enough momentum to rock forward and back on either side of the spine, not directly on the center, but use that momentum to come back to an easy seated position, or you can just simply roll to the side, fetal position, and help yourself back up with your forearms. As we finish up our class, we're just going to have a quick breath with ending our class today. We're a little over, so I just wanted to let you know. Bringing hands to heart center, we'll go ahead and bring ourselves into a soft prayer position. We can inhale, bring the hands up. Exhale, release. Palms down to our side. Fully exhaled. Gather up, inhale. Hands back at heart position. Fully exhaled here. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, palms down towards the floor. Float them down. Exhale fully here. Inhale, hands to heart center. Thank you so much for joining me here at the ACC Community Room for Gentle Yoga at 2 p.m. I hope you have a wonderful day. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
To let you know, we are going to have a change in the class schedule starting in July. We have one more class in June here at this time on this day, but starting in July, we will move to Thursdays at 12 p.m. Thursdays at lunch. So that's starting in July. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.